Long time no see then. So in the past couple of years then, since I last did a video, I've been busy making some upgrades, and the Super Cookie Levelling Contraption has had a bit of a rebirth, shall we say. So let's get on and see what I've done to this thing then. So for those that saw the previous videos, this is quite a substantial upgrade. Instead of it sliding along the boards on the top here, we've got it on rails going along the either side of it, which allows it to just glide across the table, and going on the across the table and up it as well on the you know, they have names, Y, X and Z axis. There we go. So the top one here is controlled by this crank here. Hello. So as you do that, it goes up and down. I think that's currently going down. And then when you've got it exactly where you want, press that lever there and it locks it in. It's not the greatest, but it does function quite well. An important thing as well with these cranks, it's on the other axis as well. Every full turn of it is exactly 5mm, which makes it easy for if I want accuracy. So as I'm going across the table, if I've got a 50mm cutter and I only want to take off 25mm, so 5 cranks of this will move it exactly 25mm. So another benefit to the rails then is when it comes to bit change on this thing, instead of having to try and get under the table there with it, you can actually slide it over the edge and then you can reach under it, or if you have eyesight, you can actually get down and look at the underside to see what condition the teeth are in. Another important note as well though is, as you can see here, I've got some rubber stops on the end of the rails. They're extremely handy and necessary, just in case someone accidentally tries to ram it over the edge of the table, which is definitely not something I've gone to do. Moving on. When it comes to the base now then, I still have the kitchen worktop underneath all this. However, I've put some OSB chipboard on top. The whole point of this is that it is a disposable surface. So if I damage it for any reason, it can just be chucked out and replaced without having to rebuild the entire table. Another key point is, with the OSB in, I can level all that surface to the CNC machine itself. This helps with all the accuracy. However, I did make a small mistake with this. I need to make sure that I put a hole in these because we fitted them in perfectly and it's really awkward to take them out. So key thing is always give yourself a finger hole or something so you don't have to keep putting screws in to pull them out. So unfortunately, I got rid of the old table that used to house all the router and the dust extraction, but I did keep this part of the piping. So how this used to work is, whoop, you see that? The router would sit in the middle of there and this would collect dust from either side of it. And as I'm going along the table, if I'm going across, that'd be going across the table like that. It made it so that I could take the router in and out whenever I wanted, but dust extraction wise, it was really inefficient. So here we have the new dust extraction method that we have. So as you can see, I've got a skirt that is around the router itself now, so that it only has to focus on one area, and it's now a 5-inch pipe going down to it instead of a 4-inch pipe that's then being split into 2 4-inch pipe, which is something you should never do because then you're halving the dust power extraction stuff to the each pipe. Benefit of doing this as well is as I wind this up and down, the dust skirt moves with it, so wherever I go it's always the same. Whereas the old method I had, the skirt would always remain in the same position, which means sometimes it'd be getting crushed when there was a tall slab under it. As I mentioned then, with the dust extraction, it's very important that you get it right. On the old system, I think it was lucky if it collected about 70% of the dust, which meant that the tabletop was getting pretty covered, and there was a lot of dust getting into the air. The problem with it getting covered on the base is when I put the next slab in, there's a lot of stuff I have to deal with, which would throw off getting the table level. So might be a load of bits under it, which are raising up in one corner, then are making it all angled. So for health reasons, it's better to make sure the dust extraction is as good as possible. And for ease of use reasons, it's better to get it good. So having it on the machine, wherever it goes, is a lot better than trying to catch it all around it instead. On to the final part then, the motor. Obviously, this new change has meant that the motor is now a permanent part of the contraption. The old one, I could pop my Festool router in and out whenever I needed it, but now, with it being a full part of it, I was not willing to sacrifice my £1,000 tool to be a permanent part of it. Instead, I opted to try a Rutland's 2.2 kilowatt router. It sort of did the job to begin with. It's the same power on paper as the Festool. However, manufacturing defects meant that the bearings kept burning out far too quick, even with a 30mm cutter on it. After a lot of thought, we have decided to actually invest in a spindle motor, which is kind of the perfect thing for this job, and what we should have done in the first place. It also pretty much confirms this thing's final evolution into what it truthfully has become now. It's not a CLC machine, it's a CNC machine. And yeah, just need to get some motors to actually make it a CNC now, don't we? I'd really love to give you all a demonstration of how this works then, but as I stated earlier, the motor being dead, it can't really do much other than show you how smooth this is now. Once I've got the spindle motor installed though, and it's all up and running, I'll give a full demonstration of how this all works and any other details that might be handy to know for future things. In any case, thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to check out the old one to see what this has been upgraded from. It's, yeah, one hell of a monstrous upgrade. And yeah, it's going to keep being upgraded. Thanks again, and see you in future videos.